You might be wondering, damn, what's with the fit? I was watching college basketball today. My University of Virginia won. Looks like we got a decent team again. I had the rep. That's good news for me. Team winning. Lots of happiness in a fan base. But every time I turn around, I got to come away. I got to come away from that euphoric happiness of my team winning a game, and I got to sit down in this chair and talk about Real Madrid shit in the bed over and over and over and over again. And now it's starting to spiral out of control. And I am totally on the same side in like gassing up a group of people that I literally never thought I'd be gassing up and rooting for in my entire life. And that's Real Madrid fans, right? I have never, we're going to get into it. There's a couple things that have happened that are absolutely insane, and this seems to be snowballing out of control. We got players crying, shit's hitting the fan, right? We got things happening I never imagined. But the first of which is me saying that Real Madrid fans who I think are spoiled, I think they're pompous, I think they're annoying, right? With the exception of Virginia basketball, generally root for teams that are not very good, right? The teams that I was born with who suck, and so I am pissed off by people who are born with good teams, and I think most Real Madrid fans around the world are just glory hunting people, right, that root, they instead of rooting for some other team, they decide to go with the team that, wins every single time, and that's what they decide to do. So that is a personal thing for me. Maybe I need to work through it in therapy. But I am totally on the same side, and I respect Real Madrid fans and support what they're doing right now. And we are going to get to that. Because hell is freezing over if I'm on Real Madrid fans' side, but I absolutely am, and I respect the way they're going about it. All right, but first of all, after Xabi Alonso was let go, this happened. Real Madrid on the road against Albacete, who are 17th in the second division of Spain. The match is 2-2 late on, and then you've got this guy, Bentancur, not the one from Tottenham, a worse one with weird spelling, who just pops up, ends up in some space, ball bounces back to him, chips it into the far side netting, and it's 3-2. Here's the fucking deal. This is the crux of the whole situation and how this is all going to spiral out of control from this moment, which, by the way, you have Albacete fans chanting in the stands because they hadn't won a game in a while because, they're fucking 17th in the second division. They're chanting in the stands, thanks for coming. We needed a win. Come again next week. At Real Madrid. They're chanting it at them. But you know who this falls on? It falls on the players and Florentino Perez. I'm not going to let he's a snake. I'm not going to let him snake his way out of responsibility here. But this falls on the players. You thought you were hot shit. You thought you were too good to get coached. You want to eat your fucking croissants before games, right? You want to get your massage from the same guy. You don't want to run in training. You don't want to show up on time. Well, then you better fucking win. If you win, nobody cares. But if you lose and everybody knows that you just didn't want to work that hard, that you didn't want to listen to a guy who, if there's anybody on the face of the earth that's worth listening to in the world of football, Xabi Alonso's got to be like top 10. And you didn't want to listen to him, and now you go to Albacete and you're getting clowned by Albacete. You're getting clowned. Like, I know the Real Madrid and Florentino Perez's thing is, if we lose in a tournament, as long as it's not the Champions League, we never cared about it. But you're on the road against the 17th team in the second division. They're more likely to play a competitive match against your B team than they are supposed to be able to play a competitive match against you. A lot of first-team players played in this match. Arbeloa, the manager from the B team, came up. He's more familiar with Albacete. He comes up to manage Real Madrid, laying an egg. You can't do all that shit and then lose. Right? If you're going to take the responsibility of being the face of the team, there's no manager to hide behind. The players have made damn sure of that. You don't have a manager to shield you. You can't point at Arbeloa and be like, it's his fault. Everybody knows Arbeloa is a puppet. He's got Florentino Perez's hands so far up his ass, he can probably taste his fingers. They don't have a manager. It's on you. You can't lose this game, especially with you got Jude Bellingham on his own app, right? You got all this stuff. You're trying to mitigate the damage, and then you lose to Albacete. So you knew. We probably should have known that the next match, which is a home match against Levante, was going to be spicy. I could never have predicted how spicy it is or how spicy it turned out to be. So you show up, and they're announcing the team, and the crowd is booing the fuck out of them. It's awesome. This is impressive. Because if you're Real Madrid and you're a Real Madrid fan, and this is why I respect the Real Madrid fans that are in this game, right, that were in this stadium, it is very easy to look at the superstar players on your team, to listen to Florentino Perez, who has been like the guy that has given you pretty magical times, and not be capable of being critical of them. But I think it's pretty clear, I've made 2 videos about Xabi Alonso. If you haven't seen those, I'd recommend go back and watch them, because we go through, as much as this is just me sitting here talking about random shit, we go through articles that were written, valid sources from dressing rooms, from camps, talking about what happened. And it's pretty clear that Real Madrid, at the very least, did not handle itself fair. That there is an ego problem at Real Madrid. And there's always an ego problem at Real Madrid, but in a way that is now actively hurting them from trying to get better, right? That is what seems to be happening. But you follow that up with a loss against Albacete. And the fans are believing that. And I respect them for being able to believe that, because it would be easy to side with the players, to side with Florentino Perez, but they are not. Listen to this. During the announcement of the lineups. Listen to that. Listen to that. Listen to the level of whistles when they say they're announcing the starting lineup. This is the way they show their displeasure. If it was in the US, you'd be booing really loud. Boo! So when I'm saying booing, I mean they're whistling. They're waving their white handkerchiefs, which is something, look, I don't fully understand, but I know it's a sign of discontent, particularly for Real Madrid fans. But listen, like Courtois, whistling. But they're waiting for certain players. They're waiting for certain players. Fede Valverde gets a particularly loud whistle. Let me fast forward this. They whistle everybody. Jude Bellingham. Listen to that. Listen to that for Vinny, dude. Listen to that whistle for Vinny. And they weren't done with Vinny, because everybody knows Vinny's the problem here. Everybody knows Vinny Jr. is the problem here, right? And I will say this, because we're about to get into like a Vinny section of this video. I have defended this man. He has faced a lot of racist abuse, which is not okay. There's a million different ways to insult somebody in a way that isn't historically, culturally, and socially oppressive and discriminatory, right? You size somebody up and call them a motherfucking piece of shit like a man, right? Don't stoop to those levels. And I will defend Vinny always when he ends up in those situations, because it's obviously an issue that Spain has had. But this is not that. This is Vinny Jr. now reaping what he has sown. This is Vinny Jr. clearly being on he's the guy that lost his temper when he was subbed off by Xabi Alonso. That put him on the front line, right? In a way that even though Jude Bellingham and Fede Valverde apparently behind the scenes were up against him and they got some whistles, Vinny Jr. was the public face of player discontent against Xabi Alonso. He did not seem willing to listen to him. He did not like him. They did not get along. And it mainly was on Xabi Alonso trying to coach them in a way that clearly Vinicius was not a fucking fan of. But now you wear it, right? You reap what you sow. And that seems to come as a surprise for Vinny, and it doesn't seem like something is going to be able to handle very well. But they weren't just going after Vinicius. They're going after Florentino as well. They were chanting Florentino Perez resign. He comes on the big screen, this guy that's, the godfather, and they're chanting about him to resign. This is impressive, because the standards of Real Madrid exist as this, we lose one game, the world is ending. We have to be the best club at all times. That has been reflected in the Champions League, not necessarily the League or the Copa del Rey over the last 15, 20 years. But in the Champions League, they've been the best team. You lose one game, it's a nightmare. The world is ending. And those standards are being applied, they're being applied here. The fans are showing they are discontent with the way this club is being run behind the scenes. They are discontent with the fact that their players are not doing everything they possibly can to try to win. Right? That they are showing up late to meetings, that they're doing all this, and that somehow one of the legends of the club, Xabi Alonso, is forced out because of all that is happening. Because they don't want to listen to his ideas about how to win. Right? That there is real discontent from these fans towards Florentino Perez as well. And I'm interested to see how Real Madrid handles that. Santiago Bernabeu stops whistling every time Levante have the ball, and they start whistling once Real Madrid has it. Lots of whistles. And every time, this is what's incredible. Every time the Grada fans, that's like the fan section for Real Madrid, start cheering, the fans whistle them out. They whistle their own fan section for cheering because they think that their fan section is, an arm of the state, essentially, which it is, by the way. I mean, there's this from Madrid Zone, right? The idea that Real Madrid have informed the Grada de Animación that after the game, the club will review security cameras of the Bernabeu, and whoever is caught on camera booing the team would be banned. That's some North Korea shit. That is some North Korea shit. You're reviewing, I mean, you got nothing better to do than spend, your tight budget on paying people to review game footage of your fan section, to ban people who could conceivably boo the club, trying to remove any opposition to, I don't know, the fact that maybe you might have made a bad call. Maybe things didn't go exactly the way you wanted. Maybe you got a bit of an ego problem in the team. And the fans want to give, whoever wants to boo can boo outside the stadium. This is according, at least reported through a Madrid Zone, according to Cadena Ser, which is, Spain's most listened to radio station, right? So tracking that back to the beginning. That's insane. That way, and the fans obviously are wising up to that because the Grada section's like trying to cheer and they just whistle them out. Like, fuck you. You're operatives of the club. You're like some sort of PR brand of the club. I like this tweet. I just saved this one. Real Madrid used to humble the likes of CR7 and Ramos. Now it protects a man-child who scores a goal every 4 months and cries when rightfully subbed off. Standards are gone. Accountability is gone. Vinicius virus of no accountability is spread everywhere within the institution. I think this is true in a lot of ways. Because it is also true that they used to be, Cristiano Ronaldo's not an easy fucking guy to handle. They managed to make him less than the importance of the club. And they have not successfully made Vinicius or Mbappe, for that matter, less important than the club, right? The whole mystique behind Real Madrid is that even though there's all these giant egos trying to work together, the club is this behemoth, right? It is bigger than all of them. That it's this thing that just overlords them. Whether it's David Beckham or whoever's coming through that door, right? The club is this entity, and these players have to learn and adapt how to play at that club. The club doesn't have to work around them. Where now, obviously, it feels like the club does have to work around them. And respectfully to Vinicius, who's a brilliant player, he is. All these people saying he's like terrible or wrong. He's a really, 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 really good player. He's not Messi. He's not Ronaldo. He's not even Mbappe. Like, he's not that. He thinks he is. But if even you look at those guys, look at Mbappe in this situation. He's handled it better than Vinicius has. Mbappe has always had more of a right to be a stuck-up bitch than Vinicius has. He's earned that right. You earn that right as a player. You play at this ridiculously high level. You do all these ridiculous things. And Mbappe's had an amazing year for Real Madrid as well. Right? But he has also handled this situation way better than Vinicius, and that is why he's not in the eye of the storm. Right? Vinicius doesn't know how to handle this shit, and it is torture. It's tormenting him, I think. This was happening during the game, by the way. Every time Vinicius would get the ball, listen to this. And of course he messes up. Right? He messes up. Vinicius was always the type of guy that I understood would only play well when he thought everybody believed in him. So what's going to happen now that he's getting jeered by his home fans? Right? That this incredible amount of pressure is descending upon him again. I don't think anything good is going to come of that. I don't think anything good is going to happen. But Real Madrid is still trying to pretend it's not happening. Not only are they censoring their own fans, which is ridiculous, right? If that threat is true, Madrid Extra is saying that they blocked the background noise on the broadcast on Real Madrid TV, that they blocked the background noise to cut out the boos. Somebody's Madridista TV said Kim Jong-un would be proud of this level of censorship. That's what I'm saying, dude. And then listen to this after the game. Like, after the game, a couple crazy things happened, right? But just, I'm gonna give you as much of this as I can without getting DMCA'd. Like, listen to this. That is so loud. It's deafening disapproval. Like, literally deafening disapproval. It is. And then, of course, as part of this, guess who doesn't stay on the field? Everybody else stays on the field, including Valverde and Bellingham, who are getting it. They're getting it large. You know, you stay on the field, you thank the fans, you just won the game 2-0. There goes Vinny. He's going down the tunnel. They're trying to play the song to, you know, drown out the music or whatever. Vinicius goes straight, it would appear goes straight into the tunnel, right? He's not like head down doing everything, but then there's shots that came out of Madrid zone, or the Madrid zone posted, looks like they were taken from a TV broadcast of Vinicius Jr. crying in the tunnel. Bro, I'm sorry, bro. You brought this one on yourself. You did this to yourself. Right? You feel like all these people are being really hard on you, and I'm sure the amount of hate you're getting is impossible for a normal person like me to imagine. Right? I get all that. And I always give a lot of leeway to professional athletes in these situations because they're dealing with stuff that we couldn't even imagine. But you brought this on yourself. Your standards, the way you carry yourself, the way you interact with the people around you has created this environment. This is happening because of what you've done. There were options, there were off-ramps. Just look at Mbappe, who didn't love Xabi Alonso, but he found those off-ramps. It's not his first rodeo. But Vinicius just either couldn't or didn't want to and became the face of this whole thing, right? And now he's crying in the tunnel. But I agree with this sentiment. As long as the club has fans like these, there is still hope. These fans are why the club's the greatest in sports history. No club demands standards this high. And then all from the same account here, but I thought food for me. They were kind of going viral anyways. Today, the Bernabeu did the club proud. Madridistas showed they still care about standards, history, and accountability. A reminder of the board and the players what this club represents. And they also revealed the true unfiltered feeling of Madridism. I would assume that's a cheap copy of Zealandism there toward the Vinny situation. Yeah, I mean, the fans are the ones that are going to be able to fix this. Because there's a lot of Real Madrid fans. And their standards are very high. And sometimes those annoy me when I feel like the club is doing the right thing and they're executing the right way, but the Madrid fans are just like, they freak out at the wrong time. They're freaking out at the right time. If you're Real Madrid and you want Real Madrid to keep being Real Madrid, which they obviously do, you've got to stop this now. Because Real Madrid is rotting. It feels like Real Madrid is rotting. And the longer you let that rot spread, the worse it's going to get. But there is a full-on mutiny going on at Real Madrid. And the effect of that is going to be a lot of pressure on the players and a lot of pressure on Florentino Perez. Then Florentino Perez is a dictator. He does not like this. The Real Madrid TV stuff, the letters, the letters to the people in the fan section to say, hey, if you're caught booing, right, you're going to get banned or whatever. That's dictator behavior. We always knew that Florentino Perez was like that. That he wants people to think that he's like that. I don't even think he would think that was an insult, He is the Godfather. And as much as the Godfather can do a lot of good in your community, he can also do a lot of bad, especially when things start to spiral. He's going to start calling out hits. Right? Xabi Alonso was the first hit because, he was the problem apparently and not the players that he was trying to actually coach. God forbid he tries to actually coach somebody. But now we've installed the coach from the B team, which Arbeloa, good player, him aside, right? Like the player himself aside, you're promoting a guy from the B team. That guy is the most easy to control guy possible. He's an internal promotion. He owes everything he's got to you. This dude a couple of weeks ago was coaching in the lower divisions of Spain, right? Like you haven't gone and got another manager with a big personality. And I don't think he wants a Jose Mourinho right now. Somebody that is going to take up a lot of oxygen in the room. I think he wants somebody who is a very easy punching bag like Arbeloa, who he can then try as much as he can to funnel the blame onto when he gets rid of him soon. But this is going to get really messy. And not all these players are going to survive it. And Vinicius already seems to not be capable of handling this particularly well because it is not going to get any easier. This was after a 2-0 win, by the way. This was during a 2-0 win. You want to play for Real Madrid? The club's bigger than you.